In this video, you will discover all you need to know on Novo Nordisk results, okay, because the stock rise +3, +4% when the result got out. The year-over-year performance for now, it's -23%, and they have better than expected results, +6% approximately. So it's something good, but why the stock is only going up +3%? Because it seems kind of cheap actually. So for our companies that have 25% revenue growth year-over-year, 25% operating income growth year-over-year, this may seem that the stock is not well evaluated by the market, and we'll see everything in this video to understand the results. So in terms of growth, we already saw this. You have global sales for obesity drugs, which got 56% higher year-over-year and +86% for Wegovy. So this is very good. Net income increased by 21% year-over-year, and the free cash flow, here's the main problem of the company. It went from 68.3 billion to -14.7 billion. Why? Acquisition, okay, they acquired in 2024, in December 2024, 3 sites of production of Catalent, okay, so this cost them like something like between 11 and 14 billion. I don't remember exactly the number. They also have a big pipeline, big R&D, and because of the competition, which is very, very strong for diabetes and also for weight loss drugs, they have a strong pipeline. They invest a lot in medical trials, so that's why the free cash flow was lower. They also needed to find a way to increase production because they cannot meet the demand, to not lose too many market shares. So a lot of money have been invested in it. That's why you have this much decrease in terms of free cash flow. Another thing which is important to note is that they are losing some GLP-1 market shares. They came from 69.3% to 63.6%, which is a decline. Not very good, but there are so much in advance that we could expect this. Generally, when you're so high in the market and you're dominating so much the market, it's difficult to gain more market share, especially when you're almost at 70%. So they stay over 60%, which stay good, okay? For 2025, they expect the revenue to grow between 16 and 24% and operating profit between 19 and 27%. When it comes to margin, the gross margin is slightly higher than last year, 84.7% compared to 84.6%. And operating margin is same than last year, 44.2%. Very good, very, very high margin, very high gross margin and very high operating margin. So this is good. For example, for my portfolio, I'm looking for companies that have operating margin higher than 15%. So 44% is really good. The guidance is that the operating margin should grow slightly, but they are under pressure because of investment. All this investment that they made to have better deliverability, to create new drugs, to have more results for the drugs and so on, all the clinical trial, they cost a lot, and they still expect the operating margin to grow a little, but it will not be that much. It should just be a little, and probably in the next year when they will decrease a little the spending, you will have more growth for operating margin. When it comes to capital allocation, they did 3 acquisitions last year, so 3 Catalan product sites for $11.7 billion. When it comes to research and development, you can see a 48% growth in the cost from new clinical trials and a lot of research. They really, really do a lot of research compared to competitors, so they have a lot of research and development budget. When it comes to buybacks, they buy back 0.6% of their share in 2024, and they plan to not do any buybacks in 2025. Maybe it will change, but from the guidance that they gave, 2025 should not be a year of buyback for the company. The CAPEX is up 83% in 2024, okay, from 25.8 billion Danish crown to 47.2 billion. And this is mostly because they have a big need in production. Okay, for now they cannot really meet the demand, so they really need to invest as fast as they can and a lot to meet the demand and to be able to give clients a product. And this is, on one hand, it can be good because it can give good opportunity for the future, but if it's too late now, that could probably slow the growth in the future. So it will depend, but for now, the way they manage everything, it seems they are very competent for this, and it seems promising for good growth in the future. The CAPEX for 2025 should go from 47.2 billion to 65 billion. So again, an increase of 38% in CAPEX for 2025 to solve supply chain problem, and also because they want to invest again in new research. When it comes to dividend, it grew by 21%. We have a dividend of 11.40 for 2025. So good growth. This is nice for shareholder, and the payout ratio stay around 50% of net income. So here's the main thing to understand from the results that Novo published. They have higher spending on R&D and CAPEX because high competition, and they need to improve drastically supply chain. No worries, the supply chain problem is not only for Novo Nordisk. Lilly had the same, Sanofi has the same. Okay, everybody in this market kind of has this problem, but the demand for Wegovy and for products from Novo Nordisk is so high that it touched them a little bit more. No buybacks, okay, for 2025. The CAPEX to cash from operation ratio should be around 45%, which is higher than usual. In 2024, it was around 35%. Here, it will grow to 45%. It's very high. We prefer when it's under 20%, but still, they need to invest a lot. So I don't expect it to be like this for the next 10 years. I think it will be like this for the next 2 to 3 years, potentially, and then it should get back to normal, to something closer or under 20%. The free cash flow should be between 75 and 85 billion Danish crown if no acquisition. So the growth in free cash flow should be back next year. We will see. It depends if they do big acquisition. They don't plan for now to do big acquisition. So if they stick to the plan, it should be good. I think they are starting to be worried about losing some GLP-1 market share, okay, because they decreased from 69% to 63%. They start to be worried because they invest way more than usual in research, in clinical trials. They have clinical trials for everything. They have good results, by the way, on those clinical trials. So it either shows that they have very good product and they are getting very competitive, or that they start to be very scared about losing some GLP-1 market shares. So they are working way more on oral drugs. They invest a lot in oral drugs because it's easier than injections. So yeah, this is something we need to be concerned about. They have promising clinical trial. And to conclude this video, we need to know that generally Novo has been serious with their guidance, okay? Novo CEO, directors, boards, and so on, when they did guidance, it was generally quite accurate. So I trust them with this. Of course, we cannot trust them 100%. Something can happen during the year. We never know. It's difficult to predict like exactly how it will be for a year, but we'll have some more precision in the next quarters. But generally, Novo has been very serious with their guidance, very precise and truthful. So let's hope it will continue like this. That's all for this video.